Spencer Dinwiddie to the show. Thank you so much for joining us, Spencer. You partly tore your ACL last December, and less than a year later, you've been cleared to return to basketball activity. So can you just give us a little update on where you're at now on your comeback trail?
Playing one-on-one and two-on-two. Looking to continue to progress and, get to DC in early September and ramp up to 5-on-5 from there.
Are you planning to be able to be available as soon as training camp starts? What's sort of the sense of when you think you're going to be fully able to join the Wizards?
That's going to kind of be up to the ramp-up plan of the Wizards in general. I've been working out with Kuz a little bit, working out with, some other NBA guys, and I feel good. I feel fine. I feel healthy, but, I still haven't played 5-on-5 just from the standpoint of being cautious for free agency.
Hey, Spencer, big perk here. First off, congratulations on getting the bag. All right, that's first thing
Thank
first.
You, brother.
But going down to Washington, trying to bring chocolate back to Chocolate City, we all know that they didn't have ball-dominant guards, right? John Wall, Russell Westbrook. I look at you as a combo guard, and I think you and Bradley Beal have a perfect fit. What are y'all expectations, or have y'all talked about y'all expectations going into next season?
I think we're going to look to lead a very deep group. I think we want to make the playoffs. And my job is to complement Brad in any way that I can. To your point, a combo, a little bit of a departure from Russ and John, obviously, but, have been an efficient and effective playmaker my time in Brooklyn and look to bring some of that to DC.
Spence, Richard Jefferson here. Look, I know that you got hurt before James Harden got there, but watching your career and watching how you really changed the Nets franchise, you made that franchise and the crew that you were with, whether it was Joe Harris and D'Angelo Russell, that crew, you guys really turned things around. Do you have any what ifs, if we would have been able to stay healthy or if I would have been on that court? Look, as players, we have that, but do you have that mentality?
For sure. You look at the Nets roster, they got KD, who's arguably one of the greatest scorers of all time, probably him and Kareem, right? You got Harden, who has probably had the best offensive playmaking seasons of all time. You got Kyrie, who could be the most skilled of all time, right? And then, me being kind of an amoeba and being able to fit in a lot of places and help out, and Joe being one of the best shooters in the league. I have no doubt that we would have won a championship last year. Obviously, that just wasn't in the cards for us. But Brooklyn was phenomenal for my career. They saved my career, and I was able to progress from there. And when people believe in me and I have a chance to repay them, it typically works out well. And now DC is giving me that belief, and I hope to show that there as well.
So speaking of DC, Spencer, in your contract with the Wizards, we got to break this down. You have a $1 championship bonus. How did that come about?
Yeah. My agent, Jason, is a super smart guy. And, the way you have to kind of tier out bonuses, I guess you have to hit certain little tiers and things. And, them making the play-in bonus was so high in terms of the 50 games was just to make sure that I get, as much of the money as I deserve.
Every dollar.
And so, with the championship being probably a little bit harder achievement, but them still needing to have that slot filled, they made $1. And, credit both the Wizards and Jason for doing that. Obviously it's all in the rules, but it ends up being a funny meme, but I think it's just the Wizards doing me a solid at the end of the day.
Now, you talked about the Brooklyn Nets kind of, saving your career and giving you that opportunity, and you bet on yourself, they bet on you, and it worked out well. What do you feel like your chances are to have that similar impact in Washington, helping to get that franchise back to, playing high-level basketball?
I think we definitely have a chance. Beal led the league in scoring last year, right? Is one of the best scorers in the league, obviously. Is going to continue to do that. We have Gafford, young, big, runs, protects the rim, catch lobs. You got Rui and Kuz, two emerging young wings, right? Now you have depth with Trez and Pope and Aaron Holiday. And obviously, if I come back in 19-20 form, and then I'm able to, spread the ball around as well as be an efficient scorer, whether, attacking the basket, getting to the line, et cetera, then we have a chance. Anytime you have Bill on your team, you're going to have a puncher's chance as long as everybody does their job and we can defend it at least a decent level.
Hey, Spence, I tore my ACL when I was playing too, and I wanted to get your thoughts on it. Being sidelined for an extended period of time, not being able to play the game that you love so much, you have different thoughts that goes to your head, through your head, and you have a different type of appreciation for the game when you come back. I want to know, how tough was it through the process of you actually rehabbing, and how eager you were to want to get back on the floor?
Oh, super eager. I mean, anytime you had a game taken away from you, you know what I mean, you're excited to get back, as you said. I mean, you're hungry. Having been through a worse injury in terms of my ACL reconstruction in college, which was extremely hard, and now having a partial, you know, obviously I was in a situation where I felt like I should, you know, come back extremely quickly. And I wanted to play in the championship game. I wanted to be a part of the run and do special things. So that was the focus the entire time. It was never missing the entire year. But, you know, it's the cards that ended up being dealt at the end of the day.
Spencer, we can't wait to watch you with the Wizards. It's really been a treat to kind of hear about your journey. I know you worked so incredibly hard and you were so ahead of schedule sort of every step of the way in this recovery. And that's really a testament to your work ethic. Thank you so much for joining us, and good luck this season.
Representing himself. He doesn't have an agent right now. This was Joel Embiid doing the deal direct with the Sixers ownership, doing the deal directly with Daryl Morey. And you can do that when you're a max player, when you know you're going to get the bag. But there were some interesting provisions in this. His last contract, his last rookie contract, the extension he signed off that deal, had provisions, Malika, where if he suffered catastrophic injuries to his lower leg or his lower back, that they would essentially be covered. He would lose some money on that. There was incredible protections in that. Bobby Marks one time described it as the most complicated contract in NBA history. It's 35 pages of all the ways that if he suffered a catastrophic injury, like he missed the first 2 years of his career, so you understood why the Sixers did it. There's none of those protections in there this time. He got a fully guaranteed deal. He got the player option in year 4. I mean, this is a really good deal that he negotiated for himself.
Well, I just think Joel is happy. I think he wants to be in Philly. Obviously, he signed the deal and committed to him, but this is a great thing for the Philadelphia 76ers. This means that they're moving in the right direction. Now, I know that they have to solve the problem with Ben Simmons, and I feel like a coming to Jesus meeting, if they don't find a home for him, could help that. But to me, this just shows that Joel is committed to the organization, that he's not trying to go nowhere, that he wants to win in Philly. He embraces the role. He embraces the challenge. And I think this is a great deal for both sides.
Well, look, I agree. I think it's a great deal for both sides. But also, too, you wonder about if there was leverage, right? If there was leverage that could have been had. Now, he's got, like to Ramona's point, he was injured the first 2 years of his career. So he wants that security as quickly as possible. He wants to sign his name on the dotted line. But you talked about all the provisions. You know, there was probably conversations about where direction we're going to go. Who is going to be my mate? Is it going to be Ben Simmons? Are you going to make a trade? But a lot of times when teams get security from their best player signing, you saw with Giannis, last season when he signs that extension, you're like, okay, he's committed to us. We can trade our draft picks because they're going to be late first round, and we can go get Drew Holiday, which ultimately wins the final piece. So when you have that commitment from Kawhi Leonard, when you have that commitment from Joel Embiid, it gives the team and the franchise opportunity to be like, okay, this is what we have now. Let's go forward.
Well, and speaking of that opportunity and kind of trying to put those pieces into place, the meetings that are being had, Ramona, as Ben Simmons still sits on the trading block, what's the latest you've heard about his relationship with the team?
Yeah, he's not calling them back. I mean, there's been reach outs to him. I know Embiid's reached out to him, Brand, Daryl Morey. Like, he's not engaging with the Sixers right now. You see him working out. He's getting ready for the season. He's in the gym with Tyrese Maxey. He's in the same gym with him all the time. But there's not a level of connection between Ben and the Sixers right now. And it's difficult for both sides, I think, because he would really benefit from a new start. I think with everything that happened at the end of last year, I know he was stung by some of the words that people said about him and his performance in those series, but also his performance in those series. And so if they're ever going to move past it, I do think those conversations need to happen before training camp or before a potential deal here. But they're listening to offers. So far, I think the sense is you get one chance to trade a player this good.
Yeah. And
they would prefer not to. I mean, he's a great player.
Yeah.
Can you get him back to being the Ben Simmons who was second in Defensive Player of the Year voting? Probably could have won that, depending on how you look at the voting there. But Ben Simmons is a great player. I think they would like to be able to rehabilitate that relationship, but he's got to want to rehabilitate that too. And I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah, and that's interesting, right? We've heard Adrian Wojnarowski report that Rich Paul